Some things shouldn't exist, like a car crash that happened 5 months ago showing up again in real time, or subatomic particles flying the wrong way through Earth like the laws of physics just aren't applying anymore, or an eerie cold spot in the sky that might be a bruise left over from our universe colliding with another one. Could all of this be possible evidence of parallel universes? What you're looking at here is obviously police inspecting a crashed car, but this was no normal car. This is known as the Surrey ghost car case. On December 11th of 2002, multiple calls came into the police about a car swerving off the road and crashing into a ditch near an exit ramp in Surrey, England. Police show up, expecting to find a fresh crash and maybe help a driver in trouble, but they find something stranger. At first, the officers don't see anything unusual, it's just another crash site, but as they get closer, they spot this old, overgrown vehicle. And they do find the driver, but he's no longer alive, and hadn't been for a long time. And I don't mean hours, I mean months. It was the body of a man named Christopher Brian Chandler. He'd been missing for months. Based on the state of the car and the body, the police quickly determined the crash had happened 5 months earlier, back in July of the same year. Christopher's family confirmed that he had been missing since then. So the question was, what were people actually seeing on that cold December night when they phoned the police? There were no other accidents to be found. Some people believe they were seeing a sort of ghost car, a glimpse into another reality. Could it have been a time slip where the crash from the past somehow overlapped with the present moment? Some people think the reports of a crash were from a parallel universe or timeline, and the car appeared in real time for just a brief moment before disappearing. No one really knows for sure, and we'll probably never get the full answer, but it's a perfect example of how strange the world can be, and that maybe there's more going on than we can ever hope to understand. Now, what you're looking at here is known as a cold spot, deep out in space. Back in 2004, astronomers detected an anomaly in the cosmic microwave background, or CMB, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. This cold spot is noticeably cooler than its surroundings, spanning approximately 1.8 billion light years. At first, scientists attributed this to a vast, empty supervoid, a massive region with fewer galaxies, but studying it further using more precise measurements, there's some doubt about that explanation, suggesting the void might not be as large or as empty as they thought. Well, so what does this mean though? Well, the discrepancy has led some researchers to wonder if the so-called cold spot could be the result of our universe colliding with another universe during the early stages of cosmic inflation. A collision like that could have left an imprint in the CMB, giving us possible evidence for the existence of parallel universes. This is the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or Anita for short. It's a NASA-funded experiment designed to detect high-energy cosmic neutrinos by capturing radio waves emitted when these particles interact with the Antarctic ice sheet. During its flights, Anita spotted several events where particles appeared to be traveling upward through the Earth instead of coming down from up in space. Scientists were very confused because that's not supposed to happen. Particles like neutrinos had never been seen passing through the Earth like that. Well, one hypothesis is that these anomalies could be explained by the existence of a parallel universe where the laws of physics, including the direction of time, are reversed. In this scenario, particles originating from a mirror universe could travel upward through our planet. In 2019, scientists dropped what looked like a blurry orange donut onto the internet and basically broke science Twitter for a week. What people were seeing was the first real photographic evidence of a black hole, snapped by the Event Horizon Telescope. Now, what we're looking at isn't the black hole itself technically, because physics just won't let us actually see the thing. What it is the glowing gas and light bending around the edges of the black hole. That ring is the Event Horizon, a one-way ticket to nowhere, or maybe somewhere else. See, theoretical physicists like Nikodem Pawlowski think that black holes might not just absorb stuff into nothingness, but may instead be gateways to other universes. His theory says when matter collapses into a black hole, it might not get crushed out of existence, but instead get funneled into an entirely new universe on the other side. Like, imagine every black hole being the Big Bang for a different reality. It's all based on some deep theoretical physics. No one can prove it yet, but it does fit in with the idea about multiverses and bouncing universes instead of just one big beginning. So yeah, maybe this blurry space donut isn't just a hole, maybe it's a door. What you're looking at here is a piece of what's called Curian Photography. Back in the late 1930s, a guy named Simon Curian figured out that if you zap something with a high voltage current and take a picture of it, you get these weird glowing outlines around the object. Plants, apples, people's fingers, suddenly they all looked like they had some kind of electric aura around them. It was like photographing a life energy, or maybe something from some other reality bleeding into ours. Now, people still argue about what this actually shows. Some say it's just moisture or static or whatever. Cool, noted. But we're here to talk about the weird and unexplained. So others think this glow is something deeper, a glimpse into another layer of existence, something we can't see with our eyes, but might be there all the time, kind of like the Force. Some even claim these energy fields shift with your mood or health, and if you believe the more far-out theories, you're literally watching energy from another dimension react in real time. No one's ever managed to fully explain it, but the fact that a basic electrical rig might be snapping pics of alternate layers of reality, that's the kind of stuff that does keep you up at 3 a.m. scrolling deeper and deeper into the weirder parts of the internet. Back in 2007, a security camera at the courthouse in Santa Fe caught something weird early in the morning around 7 a.m. On the footage, there's this glowing white thing, kind of round, kind of shapeless too, just drifting across the frame. It wasn't fast or anything, just sort of floating there. People online immediately started calling it a ghost. Obviously, I mean, what else are people gonna say? Well, some said it looked more like something out of phase with reality, like we were seeing a bleed through from somewhere else entirely. The way it moves doesn't look like a reflection or a glitch. It looks like it's there, just not in the way anything else usually is. Of course, the official explanation was that it was a bug walking across the lens, and sure, it could be that, but what do you think? Does it really look like a bug? People in different parts of the world have filmed what looks like two suns in the sky at the same time. One bright sun and then a second one that looks slightly smaller but still glowing like a legit celestial body. Naturally, a lot of people are pretty confused about this. Some folks say it's just a lens flare. Others say that nope, that was actually in the sky. So scientists have looked into it, like Jim Kaler, an astronomer from the University of Illinois, who says it's probably some kind of atmospheric optical illusion, light bending in weird ways because of moisture or temperature layers in the air, but even he is not 100% sure what the hell's going on. Mirages usually stack vertically, like one image above the other. This double sun thing is side by side, which makes a little less sense, so no one knows exactly what causes it. Grant Perry, another scientist, flat out said this is not a common optical phenomenon. So yeah, maybe it's just a weird trick of the light, or maybe we're seeing something that we can't even begin to comprehend. So this one is pretty wild. There's a CCTV clip that's become pretty well known for how downright bizarre it is. A guy is walking down the street at night. A second man enters the frame in front of him, at which point the first guy does something super weird. The guy in the back taps the dude in the front on the shoulder right as a car whizzes by and a metal object swings out as the guy in front is about to get swatted with it. If it weren't for the tap, he would have been hit, no question. The guy who does the tapping seems completely unfazed though. He's not panicking, he doesn't even look back to check if the car's about to hit him. How did he know what was about to happen? It's also strange because he doesn't even say anything. Doesn't stick around to be like, oh damn, wasn't that nuts? It's almost like he knew exactly what was going to happen and was just doing his part to stop it. And then he's out. Naturally, the internet lost its mind with theories. The most popular one, the guy giving the warning is a time traveler. Maybe he's from the future, maybe a version of the guy in front of him from a different reality, trying to make sure his past self doesn't die in a freak accident. Could this be a huge coincidence? Maybe, but maybe not. So this is some straight up NPC behavior, except in real life. So a guy in Omsk, Russia wakes up one morning and can't find his flock of sheep. Usually he expects to find them right where he left them, but not today. He goes out looking for them and to his surprise finds the entire flock of sheep standing on top of a roof. Now there's no obvious way for these sheep to get up there, no secret sheep elevator that we know of anyway. The man assumed they'd somehow gotten spooked by something and just climbed up the roof. How the hell do a bunch of sheep get up there without making a noise or causing a ruckus? It's like they just teleported to the top, like an NPC glitch in a video game randomly appearing on a roof. Next we have Spaceworks. Orcs standing for odd radio circles. So what are these? Well, they're actually what the name suggests, massive circular blobs in space that show up in radio telescope images. And no one really knows what they are. They were first discovered in 2020 when astronomers were mapping the sky using Australia's ASCAP radio telescope. These huge rings appeared out of nowhere, perfectly circular, massive in size, and didn't match anything scientists had seen before. They aren't galaxies, stars, supernova remnants, or anything that usually pops up in space surveys. Some scientists think they might be the result of huge explosions or collisions far, far away, cosmic shock waves that left behind radio footprints we're just now seeing. But others think they could have something to do with galaxies which have active black holes at their centers. And then there's the more exciting possibility that orcs might be a sign of something completely new, some sort of phenomenon we just don't have a name for yet. Have you ever seen the sky turn bright blue at night? What about snow that appears in your mirror but not outside? Or a bird frozen in mid-flight? Are we living in a simulated reality? These are mysterious TikToks that may just be proof. Just what in the hell is going on up in the sky in this first video? So here we see a group of folks hanging outside watching the sky because something just doesn't seem right. The sky is bright blue. The thing is, it's not daytime and everyone's pretty shook up about it. Especially when the sky suddenly turns dark again, as we can see here. Now, clearly there is a storm. I mean, you see some subtle lightning flashes in the distance, there's dark clouds up above, but this was one serious flash of lightning, if that's even what it was. I mean, it really does look like there was a glitch in the sky, and then suddenly it became daytime for a few moments and then went back to normal. And here are some images of the sky that night. That looks pretty insane. If I saw that, I would definitely think the apocalypse was on its way. Funniest comment on this one, by the way, could be one of those high-powered flashlights. Yes, high-powered flashlights, known to do that to the sky. Can you make any sense of this next clip? Weird. Snow filling up the reflection in the mirror, but panning to the window, to outside, there looks to be no snow falling. I really wish snow worked this way here. I mean, it looks lovely when you don't actually have to go outside and shovel it, walk through it, drive through it, shiver through it, clean up all the snow residue you inevitably drag into your house. If we really are living in a simulation, I would just prefer, this type of glitch to happen more often, is all I'm saying. Is that too much to ask for? The bird in this next video comes from Blue French Horn 26, who said that her daughter's boyfriend was on his way to lifeguard training when he spotted this. Just what is wrong with birds lately? This is not the first bird stuck in midair video that I've seen online. And what's interesting about this clip is the dude behind the camera is not the only one who notices that something is off. One guy had gotten out of his car to take a picture. So it's interesting that people at different angles saw the bird and noticed how weird it was. I say this because some commenters said the bird may have been suspended by fishing line or something, which is possible, but you certainly can't see any sign of that in the video. What do you all think of this one though? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. We usually talk about planes disappearing on this channel, but this is something else entirely. A plane that seems to just be sitting up in the sky. This one comes from TikToker Tanya.Draws, who was driving down a road in Chicago when she spotted the plane. And according to her, it was not the first time. What's crazy about this one is how low the plane is. I've seen other videos where people bug out about a plane seemingly frozen in the sky, but the plane is usually way higher up in the air. Easy for optical illusions to happen in that case, and while this could be an optical illusion too, it is just interesting to me how close this plane is. I mean, we get a nice, clear view here. Anyway, regardless of the explanation, I mean, it just looks super weird. This next video got a lot of people talking about a year back. So a man named Eddie from Fresno, California, going by Break and Pop on TikTok, posted a video showing the reflection of this orange Corvette C8 in the window of a strip mall. The thing is, no one can find the actual car in the parking lot. Eddie pans the camera across the lot multiple times, repeatedly asking, "Where is this car? I seriously don't see the car anywhere." This one went viral. Hundreds of commenters trying to make sense of what they were seeing. Eddie even included the text "glitch in the matrix" and asked in the caption if anyone could explain what was going on. Some said it was proof that we're living in a simulated world. Some eagle-eyed commenters also pointed out some other strange details about the video, like two mannequins on a bench and this weird bird bath sign that led one user to joke, "Do birds even read?" Seemed like there was just a lot of odd stuff about this parking lot. So this next one is pretty creepy. A TikToker named Laughter Awaits posted this clip of a woman seemingly frozen in place. And the pair behind the camera are understandably totally dumbfounded by what they're seeing. Not only is this woman standing perfectly still, but her legs are crossed. I mean, like, how do you stand in this? I mean, I know you can't see me, but just imagine I'm crossing your legs, if you will. This video also goes on for over a minute, and she would have been standing like that before they started recording. Whoever this person is, she would be amazing at red light, green light, but all of a sudden, she just unfreezes and continues to walk like nothing happened. Very strange. Imagine seeing that at night though. You just look outside your bedroom window and she's there, just mid-stride, frozen in place. Those blinds would be getting closed. This next video comes from Lynn's No Hands, who wrote in the caption, "Why are all the same cars parked in this empty townhome neighborhood?" Very good question, Linz. Let's take a look. So, yep, as the caption says, it's all the same car, different colors, sure, but same type. And they're all backed into the driveways. None are facing the other way. Pretty weird stuff. And I don't know about you, but whenever I'm driving past neighborhoods like this, I do get a weird feeling anyway. It's just, you know, a series of boring houses, all identical, just repeating over and over and over again. This, of course, takes it to a whole other level though. I mean, I don't know, like, did someone just buy this entire neighborhood and then turn it into a car dealership? Your guess is as good as mine. So back in 2023, a TikTok video posted by user unknown1575489, very catchy title, started making the rounds online. This video shows a person walking down a busy sidewalk, or rather, not walking. As we can all clearly see, this woman appears to be frozen mid-stride. It's not a still image. There are cars driving by. This person seems to be just stuck in place. Then moments later, the person just snaps back to reality and starts walking again. This video racked up more than 5.5 million views, with thousands of comments diving into theories. Most of them, of course, pointed straight to simulation theory, with users joking that this person was like an NPC in a video game. And yeah, I can't say I don't get some cyberpunk glitch vibes from this video. What's odd is that her hair doesn't even appear to move at all. It's one thing for someone to just stand as still as they can, but that bit is just extra odd. The hair not moving. And according to the uploader, she'd been standing like that for about a minute before he even started recording. So did this fish just learn to swim in midair? This video comes from TikToker Ruben.v.irs, and yeah, I do not know what the hell is happening here. So we watch as the water drains from the tank, but this fish doesn't go down with the water. It just stays at the exact level it was before, swimming around in the tank, just not with water around its body. Some of these things are really hard to describe in words, and here it is from another angle. And here, you'll notice that there are other fish in the tank, and they float down with the water as it drops further and further down the tank, because, you know, that's just how gravity works. But this one fish zips from the bottom of the tank to the top, where there's nothing but empty space. pretty cool video. Just what in the fork is this? Posted by Nico Too Swift. He and his siblings watch as this fork does what no fork has done before. I sat down for a while trying to form the words to describe what I'm looking at, but I just gave up. I mean, you can see what's happening. Now, not only is this very weird, but reading the text, this was all filmed at his brother's place, which, according to him, was haunted. So apparently this was not the only strange thing they'd experienced at this house. A routine police chase ends in inexplicable mystery. A driver in Russia nearly gets clipped by a vehicle that seems to just appear out of nowhere, and a photograph the UK government kept hidden for decades may be one of the best pictures of a UFO ever taken. Is there real evidence of parallel universes caught on camera? I used to watch this video all the time growing up. It's one of my favorites. So in this classic piece of police dashcam footage, Officer Wayne Daniels is caught in a chase with this white car. The vehicle is weaving through traffic, making all these freaky, sporadic maneuvers, almost like the car itself is possessed. But aside from that, it's a pretty standard car chase until the vehicle makes a hard left and drives straight through a fence. Yes, through it. All Officer Wayne Daniels can do now is just watch as the vehicle he was pursuing fades into the distance beyond the intact fence right in front of him. Spooky stuff. Next is another strange car video. This one comes out of Russia. So this vehicle goes to make a left-hand turn, and as it moves into the intersection, suddenly this random car just appears, cutting them off, nearly causing a collision. Now, on one hand, you have all the strange theories. Is it a ghost car? Did the vehicle just suddenly spawn out of a parallel reality? On the other hand, this driver could have just roared into the intersection so fast they weren't on camera until they just seemed to show up, and that is just reckless driving. And honestly, I think that freaks me out way more than some mysterious phantom car appearing out of nowhere. Well, if there's anything that looks like it materialized out of a parallel reality, it's this thing. This has become a pretty famous photograph in the UFO/UAP community. It's called the Calvin photo. It was actually hidden for decades. Some people say it's one of the clearest UFO images ever taken. The story goes that back in 1990, two hotel chefs were out on a casual hike in the Scottish Highlands near a place called Calvin. They were just out for some fresh air, nice view, and then boom, they spot this massive diamond-shaped object just hovering in the sky. That's when they managed to snap their picture. A real sharp picture as well. They send it to a newspaper, but instead of publishing it, the paper passes it straight to the Ministry of Defense, and then the photo just disappears for over 30 years. Well, in 2022, a journalist named David Clark finally drags it out of hiding. Turns out a former Royal Air Force press officer had a copy stashed away this whole time. Clark gets a photo expert to analyze it, and guess what? There's no signs of tampering to the image. It is legit. So, what is this thing? Well, Clark thinks it's a real UFO. Not necessarily alien maybe, but definitely something unidentified. What you're looking at here is footage of what's been referred to as the Hazdellan lights in Norway. These things have been showing up since the 1930s, and no one's been able to fully explain what they are. It's these weird glowing orbs or flashes of light. They're seen floating or zooming around a valley. Sometimes they hover in one spot, other times they move around, fast or slow. They've been seen at night, in the daytime, and they've stuck around anywhere from a few minutes to several hours. Scientists have actually tried to study them too. There's been legit research, long-term observation. People have tried to explain it with stuff like ionizing gas clouds, rare atmospheric conditions, or reflections from aircraft lights, you know, all the standard science guesses, but none of them have ever definitively solve the mystery. Just what exactly is going on here? Well, it's called ball lightning. It's a rare, unexplained phenomenon, a glowing orb of electricity that floats around during a thunderstorm. Sometimes ball lightning will stick around for several seconds, even up to a minute. People have described it as anything from the size of a golf ball to a basketball, sometimes bright white, other times glowing blue or orange. It's weird, it's unpredictable, and it doesn't follow any of the normal rules. The craziest part is scientists still don't really know how it works. There are a bunch of theories floating around. Maybe it's plasma, maybe it's some kind of gas reacting with electrical charges, maybe it's something else entirely. No one's ever been able to make it happen in a lab. It just shows up randomly and then it's gone. That's probably why there are stories of ball lightning flying through closed windows or even damaging people's homes. It's like it just phases in from somewhere else and then disappears again like nothing ever happened. So yeah, could it be some rare natural thing we just don't get yet? Yeah, sure. Or maybe it's not just electricity at all. Maybe it's something slipping in from another dimension for a few seconds before vanishing back to wherever it came from. Did this TikToker briefly switch realities or experience a glitch in the Matrix? Jade Gonzalez, or as she goes by on TikTok, KDaddy777_2, she shared some security footage taken at the restaurant she works at. She'd been cutting lemons when something very strange happened. Take a look. So she slices through this lemon twice, once in half, and then she cuts through one of the halves. She goes to put the cut half in a bag, and then she's like, what? She inspects it for a little bit, only to realize it's not cut anymore, so she ends up having to recut it. Now, is it possible she just didn't slice all the way through the lemon? Yeah, but it didn't appear to be cut at all, at least according to her. Now, it looks to me like she sliced through that sucker. I mean, I see the separation, but then somehow it supposedly forms back together. Interestingly, some commenters mention a yellowish flash appearing around the lemon. One guy said, okay, with the brightness all the way up and my face an inch from my screen, I see two clear halves and a yellow-white flash, and it's suddenly whole again. I don't know, guys, we may have an interdimensional glitch lemon on our hands. This is Brady Feigl, and this is a guy named Brady Feigl. No, I did not just show two pictures of the same guy. Are they twins? Well, not technically. Are they brothers? Nope. Are they related at all? No. They're just two very similar looking men who happen to be named Brady Feigl, played minor league baseball around the same time, have an identical height of 6'4", and they each share exactly 53% Germanic ancestry. I mean, you know, just some minor coincidences. You know what I'm gonna say now? The fact that these two exist so closely to each other as well, it just feels like a glitch. I mean, if we really are living in a simulation, then this is a very clear case of someone running things who just got lazy and just copied and pasted these two guys with some very slight tweaks. And before, you know, any know-it-alls in the comments are like, they don't look like twins, just stop. Stop, all right? They do, unequivocally. Identical twins? Maybe not. There are some clear differences in their faces, but they do look like they could be fraternal twins. Just admit it. So it's late at night and a trucker in Mexico is hauling cargo to Monterrey. Nothing weird, it's just another long drive until the company supervisor checks the truck's remote camera and sees something that makes his skin crawl. Sitting in the passenger seat is what looks like a woman. Pale, wearing old-fashioned clothes. Now, at first the supervisor just thinks the driver picked up a hitchhiker or something, which is totally against company policy. So he messages the driver, like, what's with the passenger? The driver is confused, and he just kind of thinks his boss is messing with him, so he keeps driving. But when he finally arrives at his destination, the supervisor shows him the dashcam footage. The driver freaks out, swearing up and down that he was alone the whole time. But clearly someone was caught on video sitting there next to him the entire trip. Now, it'd be one thing if it was a woman in modern clothes sitting there chatting with the driver, but this wasn't really the case here. Something just seems off about this woman. A ghost? A weird glitch in the Matrix? Either way, you ask the driver and he'd probably tell you it was the creepiest thing he'd ever experienced on the road. What would you do if you were strolling through the park and came across this? 4 black cats, each one chilling on a separate bench. Not just randomly sprawled out either. I mean, 3 of them are sitting right on the edge of their benches, like they're part of some feline cult meeting, waiting for the fourth member to arrive. As for that last cat, well, it's still in motion, just hasn't figured out its assigned seating yet. This image was posted to Reddit titled Control-C, Control-V, so copy-paste, and yeah, it really does look like someone copy and pasted the same cat over and over. Now, black cats already get a bad rap thanks to superstitions, and seeing 4 of them lined up like some shadowy council of judgment doesn't exactly scream good vibes. I'm not even superstitious myself, but I don't even think I'd risk sitting on one of those benches. Alright, let's finish off the list with some sciencey talk. So the universe is expanding faster than it should be, and scientists can't quite figure out why. That weird mystery is called the Hubble tension. Basically, we're getting different answers depending on how we measure the speed of the universe's expansion, and it's throwing everything off. To explain it, some researchers from the University of New Mexico and UC Davis have floated a theory that there could be a mirror world. Yes, a full-blown parallel universe made up of what are called shadow particles. Exact copies of the ones in our universe, but invisible, and only detectable through gravity. They're saying this hidden realm could be messing with how we perceive expansion, and might even be the source of dark matter, which is believed to make up most of the universe, but it isn't actually observable. This mirror world idea isn't totally new, but until recently it wasn't linked to solving the Hubble problem. Now scientists think it might be the missing piece that makes the math work. No one's saying that we've, confirmed the existence of parallel universes just yet, but if this turns out to be true, it could completely flip how we see the cosmos.
Starting us off at number 10 is the Baronstein Bears. So growing up in the 90s, this one was a classic. It was both an adorable children's book and also a TV show, and it was just a great story about a family of bears and a memorable part of my childhood. However, you would think, being so memorable and all, we would all be on the same page about how it was spelt. Apparently not. The Baronstein Bears falls victim to the Mandela effect because despite what many remember, the name Baronstein is spelt with an A, like stain. But many, including myself, would put money on the fact that it was Baronstein, like with an E. The first time I read this one, my brain broke a little, and I still have a hard time with it. But let me know, which spelling do you guys remember? Was it an E or with an A? Moving on to number 9, the Monopoly Man. When you think about Monopoly, you probably think about 10-hour games with your siblings that end up in tears, screaming matches, and somehow wanting to play it again, but you also remember that the Monopoly Man had a monocle, right? Apparently not. According to the company, photos, advertisements, and even giant balloons of the Moneybags character, he has never had a monocle. Not once. Yet still, so many people claim to have seen him sporting one for many years. It all just feels wrong. What parallel universe got the monocle Monopoly Man? Because apparently it wasn't ours. Moving on to number 8, Skechers. Another parallel universe Mandela effect in the spelling department is the popular shoe brand Skechers. Most people agree that the brand Skechers spells their name S-K-E-T-C-H-E-R-S, mostly because, well, it makes a lot of sense, but also because that is how a large amount of the population remember seeing it spelled. However, in reality, or at least in this version of reality, the brand name spells it without a T, so S-K-E-C-H-E-R-S. Now, of course, some people attribute this Mandela effect to just a bad memory or you being a kid and not paying attention to things, which is totally fair, but there are many adults who are sure they bought shoes and the brand spelt the name with a T. So how do you explain that? I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Which one do you remember seeing? Next up at number 7, Pikachu. In the 90s, Pokemon was pretty much the biggest show there was. And if you ask just about any 90s kid, they will likely tell you that they remember Pikachu having a black end on his tail. But apparently, we are all in the same fever dream because the black tip on the end of Pikachu's tail never existed. Ash's Pikachu, along with all the others, had black ends on the ears and a brown base on the tail, but the tip was just plain old yellow. Now with this one, there could be a little bit of a reason aside from a possible clue of a parallel universe as to why we all have this collective memory. It has been proposed that because Pikachu's earlier evolution, Pichu, actually does have a black tail, our little brains remembered that and assumed the black part stayed, which might be one option. But the parallel universe theory is way more fun, so I'm gonna stick with that. Moving on to number 6. Abe Vigoda. Although Abe Vigoda will always be famous for his role in The Godfather, it will never be his biggest claim to fame. That's because in 1982, Vigoda was reported dead by People magazine. The only problem? He didn't actually die for another 30 years. Even crazier is that despite him still being alive and well 5 years later, a local newspaper in New Jersey reported him dead again. Naturally, this became a long-standing joke among comics. In fact, during a roast hour, comedian Jeff Ross said, "My one regret is that Abe Vigoda isn't alive to see this," which was followed by Vigoda jumping up in mock anger from his seat in the audience and shaking his fist at Ross. Thankfully, he seems to have had a good sense of humor about the whole situation, but still, how can not one but two companies declare and publish that a man has died who is very much still alive? Well, some think that's because he might have actually died in a different reality. Interestingly, when the actor actually passed away in 2016, reporters were hesitant to pick up the story just in case it was an error. Moving on to number 5. Fruit of the Loom. The famous underwear company was founded in 1851 and has been a household staple ever since. But it's not the spelling on this one that has people questioning if it's from a parallel universe, but the logo. As you likely know, the logo for the Fruit of the Loom is a bunch of fruit, an apple and some grapes, but some online argue that in the past there was a cornucopia present behind all the produce. The theory started a few years ago in 2018 when a Redditor started a thread in the Mandela Effect subreddit, and they posted a photo of what they remembered the Fruit of the Loom logo looking like, with a cornucopia behind all the fruit. And after they shared that, it turned out they were not alone. The Redditor even allegedly sent a DM to the Fruit of the Loom Instagram account to double check, and the employee who answered confirmed that no, the cornucopia had never existed, but that, quote, "even some of us are still convinced it was a thing." So apparently, despite the collective groupthink, the Fruit of the Loom logo has never, to the best of anyone's knowledge, included a cornucopia in its 130-year existence. Moving on to number 4, Henry VIII. One of the most famous Mandela effects is the well-known portrait of King Henry VIII, painted by Hans Holbein the Younger in 1537. In the photo, the king can be seen holding a glove, except many people don't remember it being a glove at all. They remember it being a turkey leg. Now, some say that the pop culture portrayal of King Henry VIII is to blame for the confusion. For example, in the 1933 film The Private Life of Henry VIII, the king devours almost an entire chicken, and while portraying the king in a 2004 episode of The Simpsons, Homer Simpson also munches on a turkey leg. So culturally, we kind of have this image that he's just always eating a piece of meat, I guess. But not only that, historians believe that King Henry VIII may have been the one to introduce turkey into Christmas feasts. So in that sense, it would make sense for him to be holding one. Still, apparently, according to experts, the turkey leg phenomenon is not real. At least, not in this universe. Moving on to number 3, emojis. There are so many emojis that honestly, when it comes to the lesser used ones, I I don't think I could tell you what there is or isn't an emoji of. But there are some out there who are sure that they have used emojis that apparently never existed. One of these emojis is a left-facing seahorse. According to one Reddit user, they posted saying that they are dead set and even remember where the seahorse used to sit on the keyboard, to which many other online users agreed that they too remember a left-facing orange seahorse. But interestingly, that is not the only emoji that people remember once existing. Apparently, there has never been a robber. There's never been a slice of pumpkin pie with whipped cream, a hiker, a toaster, or a swordfish. Yet there are many who claim that they have a clear memory of using these emojis. Do any of you remember using these? Do you remember any others that apparently have never existed? Coming in at number 2, Shaggy's Adam's apple. Scooby-Doo was a huge part of so many people's childhoods, but according to some online, there appears to be something missing from the photos of the old cartoons these days. Shaggy's Adam's apple. One Reddit user, CyberGothicChe, posted saying, quote, "As I recall, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo had quite a large Adam's apple. In fact, I believe it was used for comical effect, both when he ate something and also when he gulped in fear. His Adam's apple would move quite a distance, indicating the movement of his throat muscles. Others have also noted that Shaggy has lost his Adam's apple. This seems to be a recent Mandela effect, as I have not heard it prior except once or twice." Now, many other Redditors responded in agreement, saying that they too remembered this Adam's apple. And if I think back to the old cartoons, I wanna say that I remember it too. Now, here is where it gets a little confusing. So there have been tons of different versions of Shaggy, and apparently in one version, the 2015 TV series, he does have an Adam's apple, but none of the other versions show that. Now, some have wondered if this more recent version, including the Adam's apple, is why we remember it always being that way. But then others have pointed out that it would be strange to just give him an Adam's apple out of nowhere if he never had one, even going back to like the 60s. So was it just animators trying something new, or did the Shaggy from another universe slip into this one? And last up in our number 1 spot, Jiffy. Depending on who you ask, the famous peanut butter brand is either called Jif or Jiffy. These days we are being told it was never called Jiffy, but there are some online who remember things a little differently. In a Reddit thread about the Jiffy peanut butter Mandela effect, user Albino Raccoon posted a photo seemingly proving that those who remembered Jiffy peanut butter were not losing their minds. In the post, he shared both a photo and a video of a restaurant menu that advertised what they called a Jiffy burger, and beside it was a photo of the classic peanut butter jar with the word Jiffy written across. Other Redditors responded in support. For example, Baronstein Bears said, quote, "I noticed this change about 10 years ago. Obviously, I didn't know about the Mandela effect at the time, so I assumed they just rebranded it. 10 years later, I find out it never existed. I'd sure love to know how I saw it in my mom's kitchen throughout my childhood then." Now, some think that believers of this particular effect are misremembering Skippy peanut butter, but I mean, what do you guys think? Team Jif or Team Jiffy?
At number 10, where is the rest of this apartment building? Man, that razor-thin building in the picture is something else. I mean, you cannot convince me that it's not one-dimensional. I mean, seriously, how the heck did they pull off this effect? It looks like 3 sides of this building just disappeared into the thin air, leaving it looking like a single one-dimensional side of an apartment building, missing all the rest of its walls. I'm telling you, man, it seems like either a parallel universe collided with ours just at that perfect spot, or this picture is proof that we live in a simulated reality and that the rest of the building simply failed to render. I'll let you guys decide in the comments. At number 9, the monster of Mariana's Trench. Now this one isn't a photo, but real life unexpected audio depicting what sounds like the freaking Kraken emerging out of the depths of the Mariana Trench. So a submarine descending into the depths of the deepest crevice on Earth, scientists heard an unidentifiable sound, which almost sounded like giant claws were carving into the side of the trench's walls. This weird noise, now known to science as the Western Pacific biotwang, love that word, got recorded multiple times between 2014 and 2015. Now experts can't be sure on what exactly is making this horrific sound. However, they think, and emphasis on think, that it's the jam of a dwarf minke whale, or minke whale, a kind of baleen whale. But here's the puzzler. See, usually whales only belt out these sorts of sounds when they're flirting for a date, but this one is breaking all of the rules, playing its tune all year round and at the bottom of the trench. Why? Nobody knows. Maybe it's a whale, maybe it's freaking Cthulhu coming to get us. If you're enjoying the video so far, you can support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Most Amazing, and ringing that notification bell. At number 8 is the airplane in space. Check out this incredible view from somebody's airplane seat. It seriously looks like the pilot got a bit carried away and flew the plane way too high, like straight into our atmosphere. I mean, that purple-pink cosmic display through the window is like, almost looks like a whole otherworldly galaxy out there. Now, logic is telling me that, for as mind-blowing as this seems, that this cosmic spectacle might not be intergalactic after all. Personally think what we're looking at here is a stunning pattern created by droplets of water freezing on the window in this particular pattern. Those frozen droplets can form these breathtaking shapes that mimic the beauty of a distant galaxy. So while I really want to believe that this plane is on its way to Alpha Centauri, it's probably just nature showing off its creative side. I can't quite think of an explanation for the colors though. I mean, have you ever seen the sky take on those shades of purple and pink? I mean, maybe we are looking at man's first interplanetary travel from the inside of a 747. At number 7 are perfect rows of bubbles in a pot of boiling water. This pot of boiling water is definitely something else. At first glance, you might have mistaken that water for a sheet of bubble wrap, what with how pristine the rows of bubbles are aligned. But alas, what you're looking at is actually perfectly synchronized boiling water, with the bubbles lined up in perfect rows, giving off that we live in a simulation kind of vibe. I mean, just look at it, it's like nature's created this perfect, orderly pattern in the chaos of this boiling water. Bubbles line up in these perfect rows, almost like they're following some sort of unseen code or snapping to a grid. Kinda makes you wonder if there's some underlying structure or design to everything around us, you know? Crazy how even the seemingly innocuous act of simply bringing water to a boil, you can spot these bizarrely organized patterns that hint at a glitch in the code of reality. At number 6 is the victim of the beast. This gravestone, belonging to Lily E. Gray, claims she lived from June 1881 to November of 1958, making it to 77 years old. But what's eerie about this tombstone, aside from the fact that somebody seems to have adorned it with what looks like an offering of garlic, is that it claims that Lily was a, quote, victim of the beast 666. Now that's the kind of thing that makes you pause and wonder. I mean, I would definitely consider grabbing a Ouija board to chat with Lily and find out exactly what the heck went down. Really curious to know the full scoop behind that eerie inscription. I mean, seriously though, seeing something like Victim of the Beast 666 on a gravestone is like stumbling upon a mystery that's just begging to be solved. Kind of thing that makes you want to start concocting wild theories and wanting to delve deeper into the story behind it. Now, I'm not really sure if this is supposed to be a reference or some sort of symbolic inscription or something else entirely, but it's definitely intriguing. At number 5, where the hell is this car parked? So here's the picture from a perspective of somebody sitting in their car, parked in their driveway, which is obviously outside. However, if you take a look in the rear view mirror, where you would expect to see the street or whatever the heck is behind the car, instead you're met with the sight of the inside of what appears to be an infant's bedroom with crib, rocking horse and all. The perspective almost makes it look as though the car was parked right inside, but I mean, that clearly ain't the case. It's mind-boggling. Perhaps this is a real-life glitch, or maybe just a portal to another dimension opened up right behind this driver. But come on, like how does this even happen? You park your car and somehow the view from the back window is straight into somebody's bedroom? Perfectly unexpected and surreal. Now, I'm assuming that this is just one of those rare and totally baffling situations where everything aligns just perfectly to create this mind-blowing optical illusion. Either that, or the driver just stepped inside a real-life Twilight Zone episode. At number 4 is this airplane cabin fog. If I were someone with a touch of airplane anxiety, seeing my cabin filled with fog would definitely have me questioning why I didn't sneak a parachute into my carry-on. I mean, seriously. It's like this plane just flew straight into an interdimensional plane and entered the Stephen King mist reality. But even being indoors doesn't seem like a safe bet in this scenario. Crazy how something as simple as fog filling up a cabin can give off that eerie otherworldly vibe. So upon discovering this image, I just had to go digging for an explanation, and luckily, science actually does have an answer for this one. Okay, so here's the deal. Misty fog can pop up in your airplane for a few reasons. One biggie is changes in temperature and humidity. When you've got folks boarding and there's bringing in moisture from outside, especially if there's a sudden change in the cabin's conditions, it can cause condensation, and bam, next thing you know, it's fog city up in there. Now sometimes this could also be a little glitch in the plane's air conditioning or ventilation system, or maybe somebody keeps opening and closing the overhead bins a bunch, or there's a door constantly getting jiggled during boarding. Allegedly, all that can let in humid air, leading to the whole fog show somehow. So rest assured, it's not paranormal activity or anything. Apparently this happens a lot more often than you would think, and there are actually procedures in place for the flight crew to sort it out. At number 3, this partially rendered building glitch. Imagine strolling down the streets on a cloudy day, minding your own business, and suddenly you spot this building that seems like it's been playing hide and seek with reality. So there's this brick wall that seems like it's in the middle of being painted, but the color of the new paint is an exact match to the gloomy gray sky hovering behind it. It's like someone took a break halfway through painting and the background weather decided to join in on the fun by being all gray and moody. The ultimate accidental camouflage, making you wonder if you're witnessing a real-life Matrix glitch. The way the building's facade blends seamlessly with the sky creates this surreal effect, like our wall was only halfway materialized in our world. This is the part where you'd start questioning whether a painter overslept on the job, or this is the genius architectural illusion meant to mess with our heads. The brick wall seems to merge with the atmosphere, giving off this effect like when buildings partially render in video games. The kind of sight that makes you rub your eyes twice, making sure you're not living in a digital simulation. At number 2 is this interdimensional spider. This neon green spider looks like it's straight out of Dimension 42, minus the 42 insignia on its booty. Like, come on, you're telling me that this thing ain't radioactive? That I won't turn into Spider-Man if it takes a bite out of me? You must be the crazy one. Now, what's even eerier is how the spider has a white carnival clown looking face. Now, believe it or not, there are actually a plethora of spider species that are neon green, and this pretty faced little guy is likely part of the Mopsus Mormon species, though I am not a spider expert, so I can't say for sure. Now, the reason behind this crazy coloration is either to attract mates or camouflage themselves. It seems like Spider-Man ain't the only one setting fashion trends here. And hey, this neon green spider might be a standout in its own right, but it's just one of the many examples of wondrous diversity nature has up its sleeve. And at number 1 is the don't care button. Have you seen this keyboard with a dedicated don't care button? It almost feels kind of rebellious to have such a key, but now that I know that it exists, I am seriously thinking that it should be standard on every single keyboard out there. Like, no kidding. I mean, who wouldn't want that level of carefree functionality at their fingertips? Imagine having a button solely designated for the don't care mood, like a magic portal to a world where you can just shrug things off with a click. But seriously, where the heck has this button been all this time? Honestly, I would definitely sign up to live in a reality where this don't care button is the norm. It's one of those genius ideas that makes you wonder why it hasn't been part of our lives from the get-go. Who knew such a single key could make life feel so refreshingly carefree?